Welcome to Modern Motoring. We are with Cadillac's smallest EV, the OPTIQ, and it's got some pretty impressive numbers. Almost 500 kilometers of range, 300 horsepower, 85 kilowatt hour battery, really nicely decked out on the inside. And the price point's pretty good, ranging from the low to mid 60s. In this video, we'll go through the perks, quirks, and irks of the Cadillac OPTIQ, touch on pricing and competition. Starting off with our baseline numbers, we have an 85 kilowatt per hour battery. Range comes in at 486 kilometers. It's all-wheel drive, and horsepower is 300. Torque is 354, and max charging speed comes in at 150 kilowatts. Home charging can be done at either 11.5 or 19.2 kilowatts as well. So pretty good as far as baseline numbers go. Plenty of power, lots of range. And the last set of numbers is cargo space. It's 740 liters with the rear seats up, and it more than doubles to 1,603 with those rear seats down. On the perk side of things, the biggest one here is the drive quality and drive feel. It is excellent, A+, smooth, quiet, nice even distribution of power. Yeah, you have that instant torque, so you get going pretty quick. It's not head snapping back into the headrest fast, but it is quick, it is brisk, it is noticeable. Everything is so well balanced. It's nice and quiet in the cabin. You have that nice sturdy drive feel as well. It doesn't feel flimsy or weak or just poorly built. And I'm really happy that Cadillac has put so much effort into their smallest EV. Sure, it's easy to dress up an Escalade IQ, you just throw everything in your parts bin at it. But the sign of a good automaker is how well they do smaller cars. And here, the OPTIQ is absolutely excellent on the driving side of things. No complaints. I don't need more power. I don't think anyone does. That said, there is a V coming with monstrous power. More on that at the end. But if you are looking for something in the luxury EV world and drive feel is your key priority, it's really hard to beat the OPTIQ. While GM isn't known for its top-notch build quality over the past 30-40 years, the fit and finish here in the OPTIQ is excellent. No panel gaps outside of what they should be. Good use of materials. There's recycled materials here for the cloth accents. The leather feels really good. Yeah, there's some plastic bits, but they've got a nice color and a nice design pattern to them to make the cabin flow so nicely. No creaks, no weird sounds on the highways or even at lower speeds. Again, I'm going to go back to it. This is the best thing Cadillac has made, yeah, in the EV world as of right now. And I'm going to go out there and say, out of everything they've put out in the past 3-4 years, this OPTIQ is thoroughly impressive. You have the option for one pedal driving, and it comes in either normal or high. So it's not really one pedal driving, it's just different levels of regen. There's a lot of standard features here. The 19-speaker audio system, the panoramic moonroof. It doesn't open, but now whatever, it doesn't matter. It still lets lots of light into the cabin. You have a ton of standard safety highlighted by blind spot monitoring, forward collision assist, automatic emergency braking, rear cross traffic alert, and rear automatic braking. 360 cam comes standard as well. Wireless charging is here in addition. The high-res 33-inch 9K screen, and that's a really smart move for me. And I know that it shouldn't be so impressive, but in some vehicles, you have two different sizes of screens, and it just seems like a waste of resources. So I'm happy Cadillac has said, you know what, everybody gets this, again, 33-inch high-res 9K screen. The biggest standard feature here for me, and maybe you, is Super Cruise. Now, it does come with a 3-year subscription, so you gotta pay for it eventually if you choose to use it. But the further we go into the modern automotive world, the more vehicles are coming standard with the GM Super Cruise. The up to 486 kilometers of range, I think, is a big perk. And yes, there'll be people who say, well, I want 600 and 700, and I want it to be the exact equivalent of what I would get out of a gas vehicle. And these are not the same, but almost 500 kilometers of range here, plus up to 150 kilowatts as far as the charging speed goes. I think it's practical for the real world, and road trips might be a little iffy depending on where you're going, if there's charging stations, but As an urban vehicle, the OPTIQ is well equipped, again, with that almost 500 kilometers of range. On the Quirks side of things, despite this massive 33-inch 9K resolution screen, all of the advanced technology and impressive design work, they went with an old school physical button HVAC system, and I think that is wonderful. Thank you for not burying it somewhere in the infotainment system and not making it completely digital. I'm sure it was probably on the table during the design phase, but whoever decided to keep the HVAC controls physical and as a nice long bar gets extra points and should get an extra day off. I'm all for recycling and limiting the amount of new materials used in a vehicle, so Cadillac's gone with a combination of tulip wood and recycled newspaper here for the cloth accents. And it's kind of carpet-esque as far as texture goes, which is fine. It's not on any of the touch points. Cadillac's website says there are 126 different color combinations for your ambient lights. And I think that's a lot. That is borderline too much, and yeah, it's really quirky. Most manufacturers run with the standard color wheel of 64. Some go down to 10 or 15, but a little quirky that Cadillac said, you know what, let's go for 126. This is part Quirk, part Perk, and it's the way you open the rear door. So you push the logo and the door comes up. So it kind of cleans things up back there, as far as not having this little randomly placed black button somewhere or having it inside the hand pull on the trunk lid. So I kind of like it. It's not a new thing. Mercedes does that as well. On to the Irks side of things. The door handles are just awful. They pop out. They're electronic. You have to yank on them for a half second and then the door latch releases and then you get to open the door. And sure, they look good, but come winter and minus 20, 30, 40 degree weather, they're bound to stick or fail or freeze. The next irk is that the windshield wipers fold outward instead of going from the bottom right to the top left like traditional ones do. And the problem with them folding outward is you always get that streak or drip going right down the middle of the windshield, which leads into my next irk, being there is no rear wiper. We've been through this with the Ioniq 5. We've been through this with the EV6. Why isn't there a rear wiper in Canada when there's all sorts of varying precipitation? It's snow, it's sleet, it's mud, it's all the things. Just put a rear wiper in there. It's such an oversight. Yes, I know that with a bottle of Rain-X, it can do something similar, and there's a pretty steep angle, so not a lot of stuff collects, but maybe for the American market, skip it, or somewhere else in the world, but the Canadian market absolutely needs a rear wiper. There's no frunk, and it's not a big irk, but there should be something there for additional storage, and Cadillac goes on and says, well, we've got tons of cargo space in the rear, again, 740 liter seats up, 1603 seats down, but just having a frunk for your charging cable or a bottle of washer fluid. And finally, in the not new but still extremely annoying, no Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto. And I know that GM's going their own way with this, but we've been so accustomed to it in so many vehicles for so many years. It doesn't even need to be wireless, it just needs to be here. Let's get wrapped up with pricing and a few other bits of interesting information. So there are 4 trims for the OPTIQ. It is the Luxury 1, Sport 1, and Luxury 2, Sport 2. So Canadian MSRP figures for the Luxury 1 Sport 1, $59,999. And if you want the Luxury 2 or the Sport 2, tack on $4,000. And we are up to $63,999. So that's pricing out of the way. Here's some other weird bits and pieces that I found on the Cadillac website. For 2026, which is up on the site, but you can't look at the specs, you can't build it. It's more of a teaser page for now. It's saying 440 horsepower, 498 pound-feet of torque, which is a lot more than what the 2025 model has. And it has range up to 482 kilometers with a rear-wheel drive configuration, which we don't have for 2025. 2025 only has all-wheel drive through that two-motor system. So it's a little peculiar, and if it really is a difference of 4 kilometers, this being 486 all-wheel drive and 482 for the rear-wheel drive, I can't see anyone buying the rear-wheel drive if range is their key driver. Now, to add to that, Natural Resources Canada has the 2026 OPTIQ Up, and it's rated at 510 kilometers of range, which is a big difference from what we have on the Cadillac page for 2026, showing 482. There's also that V-Series coming later on this year, they say. It might be early next year, but they're saying it's coming in fall of 2025 as a 2026 model year. 442 kilometers of range, but being a V, 519 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque. It's silly to me. Where are you going to use that to open it up? And maybe you could take it to a track or something, but that's what's on tap. And NACS charging will come with all 2026 OPTIQs. Again, so says the Cadillac Canada website. Let's get wrapped up with competition. So first up is the Equinox, and I know it's not a luxury vehicle, but same platform, same battery, and $10,000-ish of a difference, but still a competitor if you want an EV made by GM. You're also looking at the Genesis GV60, the Lexus RZ, Honda Prologue, Mini Countryman, Volvo EX40, Audi Q4 e-tron, Mercedes-Benz EQB, Ford Mustang Mach-E, and the Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6. So there's no shortage of EVs in this class, and well, the price isn't too bad. And yes, Canada has no more rebates anymore. There's some on the way back, I think, definitely, maybe, but as of the time of recording and publishing this video, being middle of September, there are no EV rebates. I think Cadillac's done a really good job here in creating something that's high quality, great fit and finish, plenty of range, and really, really good driving feel. And I think that's what's going to set it apart, because Cadillac isn't known for any of those things usually. Yeah, they're a luxury brand, but sometimes they miss the mark significantly. But here in the OPTIQ, they have nailed all the key pillars as far as creating a solid EV. That's going to wrap it up for the 2025 Cadillac OPTIQ EV. Let me know if you have any questions on what you've seen. I'm happy to get you answers as soon as possible, and I'm always happy to engage in respectful conversation online. I invite you to join the Modern Motoring social media platforms. We are on all of the major ones, and without you, there is no Modern Motoring. So I thank you, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.